here. It's lovely to have you here today to celebrate a young author, my brother, 16-year-old Kabir Dev Mittra. And he's here for his author's evening at Kunzum. So thank you, Kunzum, for hosting us. Thank you so much, Aarti, for the wonderful reception and for taking care of us very warmly. To introduce Kabir, Kabir is 16 years old, as you already see. He's a teenager and this is his second published book. The first one, he was published as part of an anthology called Etched in Time, published by Scholastic. And he has published in November 2022 his second book called 24 Until Midnight. He will be talking a little more about that, so I'll reserve myself from sharing a lot of words about it. In conversation with Sir, he'll be sharing more with you. I'm also happy to introduce the publishers today. A little bit about Pigeon Books. Pigeon Books is an imprint of GBT Books. It was started by Sir Kaushal Goyal in 2003, and Pigeon Books has 800 plus published books, including 24 biographies of famous people of the world, including Mahatma Gandhi, Narendra Modi, Albert Einstein, Mother Teresa, etc. Pigeon biographies have sold more than 5 lakh copies, and they also publish fiction, non-fiction poems and stories. And they have their first-time author. They publish first-time authors like Kabir Dev Mittra. His book 24 Until Midnight is a very serious book of serious poems by such a young boy, and they're the true life. And they share that they're true to life and they will touch your life. And Sir, in his words, has shared that he wishes Kabir's true success in life. So thank you so much, Sir. Could I invite Sir Neeraj Sir to honor publishers? Thank you so much.
Should honor him.
I would also deeply like to thank Sir Professor Manohar Kushlani for sparing his precious moments and having accepted this invitation to have a conversation with Kabir. Sir is a professor and a visiting faculty at IIIT Delhi. He is also ex-director of CWC, Government of India. Currently, he is the editor-in-chief at Stage Bus, e-magazine on culture, and also One World, a portal on water and environment. Sir has also, with his wonderful CV on LinkedIn, something that really stood out for me was that he has also acted in a few films such as Hazaro Khwaishein Aisi and Annie Gives Those Ones. He has also held a number of honorary positions such as the chairman of jury for UGC CEC Educational Films Competition, was on the preview committee of Doordarshan, was a visiting professor at NSD FTII Pune, and he has judged many drama competitions, conducted many theatre management workshops, and has been a columnist with Midday and Pioneer. He was also a guest editor of ICCR journal Horizons, and he has also written for Times of India, Hindustan Times, Blitz, Heart News, Theatre India, and Art Times. Thank you so much, Sir, for accepting this invitation and for your time. Could I please invite Diksha Ma'am to facilitate, Sir?
Thank you for a wonderful introduction. Thanks.
As a token of thank you, we would also.
This is from our side with lots of love and regards. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you. Yeah, I'll keep it here.
We would also like to extend our gratitude to Ms. Rajshri. Thank you so much, ma'am. And last but not the least, to our wonderful young author.
We are here all because of you.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's right.
And with that, I pass on the mic to Sir for this wonderful conversation. And Kabir, you don't mind this one.
Thank you. And I have with me this mic on. I have with me this young prodigy, Kabir. His name is also Kabir. Kabir Dev Mittra. Mitra with a double T, like a double barrel gun as far as words are concerned. He's very prolific with his words, and for his age, I'll say something very interesting, Kabir. Before you read out so many 100 poems of yours, I'll read out one poem of mine. Yeah. And there's a reason for it. When I was in school, I wrote a poem on river. It says, river through a forest passes, meandering in great loops with lashes, the sweeping willows stoop to kiss the shiny waters with great bliss. At last when the river leaves the forest green, it recalls with a happy shiver the heavenly shade through which it's been. And this poem was written in my school bulletin, and I didn't know that it was so prophetic, because later on I was the director of Central Water Commission, and I worked there for 35 years in the Ministry of Water Resources. So sometimes when you write poetry, you don't even know. I didn't know. I knew nothing. Because my father was also in Central Water Commission, I used to travel with him. So I wrote a poetry on a river and how the loggers are cutting the wood and all that. I didn't know that I'll spend so many years of my life, going to dark bungalows around, building dams, hydroelectric projects. So Kabir, from what I've read of his poems, he's a humanist, he's an activist, he's a feminist, he's an anti-war activist, see, and his poetry, he's a nature lover, he's an environment lover, his study of history, so you can see where he's going. He doesn't know today, because he's just 16 years old. And he started his journey at the age of 13. So, when we go through some of his poems, and some I have dog-eared to read out, and some I'll ask him to read and discuss with him. But before that, I want to ask you, Kabir, you tell me your journey. How did you start writing poetry?
I actually don't remember. It's kind of funny because I never thought I'd be writing poetry. I was mostly into short stories from starting. I started my journey by writing short stories, and like I said, that I got published as a part of anthology in the starting with a short story. So my journey began from writing short stories, and slowly it grew to writing poetry. And I think the first project I actually wrote is my 6th poem, Vitication en route, which is actually a homework given to me by my school. And me and my mentor, Yashika Arora, so I was just pondering upon, and she gave me a few names, Maya Angelou and Simone de Beauvoir, and I started reading a little about them and their works. So especially The Second Sex by Simone de Beauvoir actually changed a lot in me, because that is one book which kind of upheld everything that poem also has to hold. So when I started reading more about it, I got to know that poetry is actually a very beautiful concept. And if I can write a poem for holiday homework, why can I not write it for other things? So I guess that's how my journey in poetry started. But writing as a concept, I have never been too fond of it, but things happen, like it's not a formula really. Just things happen and just went into that path.
Well, Kabir, I am here because Rajeshri Trivedi, the very well-known announcer from All India Radio, introduced me to you. So I would also like to express my gratitude to her for bringing me here and for always having the eye for the best. She's also interviewed me many times on radio and invited me for programs. Plus, I've followed her career. She's the announcer and, she's Republic Day Parade. Oh, so many events, She's a national figure. She's got a golden voice. I mean, you just have to listen to her, you know what a beautiful voice she has.
Today we talk about Kabir. Yeah.
So I'm here because of her, and she's introduced me here, so I'm also because of you. And yeah. So now, one thing I want you to, that poem which you mentioned just now,
Third
can
poem, yeah.
you read it out? And what page is it on?
Yes. It is on 29. It's
29.
before. Yes, this one.
Yeah, this is the. Okay, Vitication. Okay, right. I have dog-eared it all. Okay, so tell me about it. Read it out for the audience.
Okay. Vindication on road. In the misogynistic society that we reside in, they can steal my breath, they can steal my life. They can dictate me what to do, but my faith resides in me and my sisters. One day, the era of man will turn to dust. Patriarchy will turn in his grave, and women will come out of the shadows to celebrate. The writers will ink the date to commemorate. The women will rise and Maya Angelou will smile. Satan seduced Eve. Adam ate the apple at his will. The young females read and wonder, why did Eve become a fallen woman? To voice themselves and to break the shackles of male chauvinism. They write, but under a guise. George Eliot and A. Bernard become famous names. Centuries pass and more awakened souls are born. Like their ancestors, they also question why women are forlorn. But this time, women are rebels. They write and they question, they present the voice of the second sex. Simone de Beauvoir becomes a revolutionary and needs no guise. She says, even though the sun is set past the horizon, one day it shall shine bright. Me and my sisters, who made houses a home, a man into a husband, will no longer celebrate in our houses, but will go down the street and dance under the moon. And so it gradually happens. My sisters and I broke this thick glass of sexism and toppled the mindset of masculinity. As the pillar of man fell from the clutches of nether, women emerged and rose, taking every punch in their stride. My sisters proudly stood hand in hand with pride. They dismembered patriarchy, left no gender and sexual orientation aside. And so the sun shone bright. The celebrations resumed. But this time, the words of women were printed with their names. The words of women were also celebrated. And the words of women were also commemorated. Thank you.
Now we're going to rip this poem apart. I mean, here's a young feminist before you, and you can see how much his very first sentence he starts is with misogynist. How much he hates misogynism. And how many sisters do you have?
I have two.
Two, so that's exclusive.
Yeah.
But it's also a very broad term for all the women of the world who you consider your sister. That's all this poem at least.
It's mostly about how, even though we're not connected by blood, we have this common idea on which we, even as humans, we connect and we are united upon. So in that.
And now look at this interesting thing. They write, but under a guise, George Eliot and A.M. Bernard become famous names. Why? Why do they become famous names? Because they were women who wrote under masculine names. So they were afraid to write. There was a time when women were afraid to write. Like right now, you got all this controversy about how women must cover their face and cover their identity and everything like that. So women have always been fighting for their personal identity. And when they wrote something revolutionary and something like that, then they chose names which sounded masculine. You know? So look at the depth with which he has gone into those characters and history and all that. Tell me one thing. What about Maya Angelou? What about her? Tell us about her.
So Maya Angelou, she was a black poet and an author, and she wrote about women and women's rights, and she has a lot of works. I haven't read all of them. I've read only a few, and the ones which I have read are mostly about women and how she mainly talks about male chauvinism, and chauvinism basically it refers to how how men they are more superior, like how they see superiority, the complex of superiority which males hold in society, which men hold in society, that is male chauvinism. And Maya Angelou, what she does is she talks about it and how in this society which we reside in, it is actually the opposite, because in a lot of ways women, they are much stronger, and it's not just about stronger, it's about being better. And it's not because men are better, women are better. We have to agree to some point that both of the genders, they are good at some place and they're not good at the other. If I talk about, for example, physical strength, they might be dominant. But if I talk about how women are more caring and loving, I'm not talking about any controversial thing here, but yeah, if they're more caring and loving, it is a fact. I think I sparked a debate or anything.
No problem. We are having hell for discussion. I don't think that anybody
We all agree with you.
disagree with you.
I don't disagree.
So Simone de Beauvoir, you know, she was connected to a very famous personality, very great philosopher, writer,
Jean-Paul Sartre.
Jean-Paul Sartre.
Yeah.
Okay. So you picked a very interesting thing. This line I really liked about it was, she says, even though the sun is set past the horizon, mind you, it has gone down the horizon, one day it shall still shine bright. Even below the horizon it will shine. Look at the poetic beauty in that particular. Now let's go. I'll just pick up some poems and I'll allow you also to pick up your own poems. Let's go to the very first one. Riddling anxieties. He's 16 years old, he already has anxieties. We all have anxiety. Small children.
Not at this age.
Society is such.
Not at this
In
age.
fact, when I read
That's what
this poem by him, I got little, concerned.
Yeah.
Because COVID time had started. All the time he was at home, and he's not the kind who connects with people on social media. He always prefer one-to-one personal connections. So when I read this poem, I was concerned, but.
No, that's what I told him. Next book he should write, some comic thing.
No, don't tell him that.
No.
Let him go right from, because if he's a poet, he will write from his heart. If you tell him write on a
it has to
particular
be
topic.
from his heart only, but it should be a little lighter.
As a publisher,
Too dark.
maybe you
Too
want
dark.
something different.
Not for his age. If I write or you write, then we can write like this.
I think nowadays children, they think
Yeah,
very
yeah.
intensely about things. Very, either they don't think or they think very intensely. I've realized that. And with him, I've seen he will just put it on paper and then he's very detached to those feelings. So I think whatever
That is
little
good.
amount of anxiety came, it came in the form of words and it was over.
But he's cradling them. There's nothing, he knows how to handle them.
Yeah.
This is more of an ironical statement, because anxiety is one thing people cannot control. And cradling is something we do with a baby or a delicate thing. And anxieties is not at all delicate. It's kind of a battle we fight within ourselves. And this is what the poem talks about. That how it's not like...
First read out the poem.
Okay. Cradling anxieties. The night bird sings in the dead of night as I lay my head on the pillow. The monster creeps out from under my bed and asks me why I am so mellow.
Can you imagine a monster creeping out from under his bed? Look at the courage with which he writes about it.
Yeah.
About images. There is something that children would fear very much.
This is actually like this part of the poem. I was coming back home after playing football with my friends, and I just started thinking about it. That how it's like a very classical thing that there's a monster under my bed. Even a lot of horror movies and even Stephen King has talked about this. About this topic of a monster being under the bed. So I just started humming about it. I don't know why, and it just kind of popped up in my head. These 4 lines. And then from that, I just went home and I wrote it.
So they came to your mind as a phrase.
Yeah, as more of
imagine those things.
As a hymn or like something like a child to like a yodel, something like that.
So I have nothing to answer, no anecdote to recant, no poem to recite, nothing but a story which begins from the end, the dead of the night. Read the next paragraph.
Even in the bleak midwinter, the warmth of fear doesn't seem to pass. Crippling through my bones, crawling up my spine, sitting alone in the silence as the darkness falls in line.
And next one reminds me of Macbeth. The blood on my hands doesn't seem to fade. Lady Macbeth, you remember, she kept washing her hands in never red. Blood which is not red. Blood which doesn't belong to someone else. I grasp my hands together. Why is it not red?
Because not every murder is committed by your hands. It's more about how a lot of times we kill parts of ourselves as well. And yeah, it's regarding that.
As I sink deeper in myself alone, I think I feel I have no one to cradle except my own anxieties. That's where the key line comes, the heading of the poem. Go ahead.
I wake up, still in the dark. The elder clock chimes as I break apart. I shut the windows, I lock the doors. But I know that this won't be enough to keep my thoughts at bay. They barge in like savages. They grasp my heart and condemn my soul. I feel it. I feel it again. The pestilence of temptation coursing through my veins, poisoning my mind, getting deeper inside my brain.
Noon is afraid to come, and it shadows my heart to repeat. And they assume their seat and send out their discrepancies, meddling with something that doesn't belong to them, that doesn't belong to me. Even as I recant, I feel a chill rushing through me, the feeling of bloodshed, the smell of blood on a battlefield. But this war is worse than gallows and terrains, worse than Trojans and Spartans, whose sieges were in vain. This is not a war between men, but a battle within oneself. So I ask a monster under my bed what he thinks. He looks in my eyes and says, I don't know from where to begin. I think this needs applause.
Yeah.
The next poem I want you to read is Optimistic Aspirations. The very next one.
Optimistic aspirations. Beyond the mountains of confusion and the brooding skies lies a dream meant to be. The dream is alone, traveling through purgatory, swimming through tough times. The dream of rising up in life. It walks miles through the mountains, bleeding through the pain, giving up at times, thinking it's all in vain. It must add up to something beyond our sight. And so comes the door to success, and the dream pushes with all its might. Disappointment rushes through the veins as the dream vanishes away. Tears on the edges of eyes, with the roughed up hair and now blue skies. This dream is not for one, but is of all. Even with determination and focus, it's not for all. Now I'm on my deathbed, with no regrets at all. How time flies. But at least I tried. The dream may not be accomplished here, but I'll finish it in another life.
Beautiful. Now he says he's on his deathbed. It's a young 16-year-old man and he's thinking of death. So tell me one thing. You see yourself also as a person who's seen whole life. Because even me, as I grew up, I remember at the age of 12, I thought I understand life. Nothing. I think we all experience that. Age of 16, you again think, oh, because dunya ke baare mein sab pata hai. But there are still many things to discover. So is that the kind of a feeling you got when you said this, that you are in your deathbed?
So this is a very weird thing, yes, but actually I'm very fascinated by death as a concept because I actually believe that death is something which is unknown to man, and because of that reason, man runs away from it and also chases it for some reason. Because if we talk about suicides and all of that, that is actually men are running towards it because for them life is over, even though it's not. And if I talk about, for example, the men who seek eternity, in a lot of stories in the Bible or even in Bhagavad Gita, it is said that, for example, so basically it talks about how to chase that eternal fountain of youth. How a lot of they did anything and everything they could just to have an eternal life, even though some people might consider that a curse. So for me, that's a very fascinating concept, and because of that, so this poem, it's basically about how, if I talk about this dream, we all have this dream to become successful and be an absolute prodigy in our career, but that's not for all. That's not. It might be your dream, but it's not your destiny. That's the difference between a dream and a destiny, because it's not in your hand till some point. You might be determined, you might put all of your effort, but you still might not be successful. But like me, on being on my deathbed, I'm that kind of person. I might do anything and everything, but I will not have any regrets in life because I did it myself. I have to take that responsibility. So that's why I said that with no regrets at all. So even if I pursue a career which is very tipsy or it's very dangerous, I will do it, but I will have no regrets at all, even though I'm dying. So that's my ideology.
I was telling Kabir that I feel a lot of synergy with his thoughts, because I wrote a poem on death when I was in school also. I remember a few lines of those. Come death, I await thy divine kiss. Come and take me to that world of bliss where nobody resides except I. काफी लंबी कविता है, but I have never feared death. That's why I understand what he's saying.
He says death fascinates him.
Yeah, it's a very fascinating concept.
It is
Because if I talk about what comes after death, for example, nobody knows. There are a bunch of theories that we get reborn or we go to the supreme power. I don't believe in either of them, and I actually believe in all of them. It's a very interesting thing.
Neither you are atheist nor you are an agnostic nor you are a believer.
Yeah,
right now you're undecided.
Yeah, I'm searching because I believe there is something there, but we never know. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. Next poem I want you to read is Bystander.
Bystander.
Good.
I came in this world alone. With the help of others, I'm now all grown. I make money. I move to the city. I have a big house. Everyone knows my riches, but I feel forlorn. The hustle and bustle of the city doesn't match my heart. My senses feel numb. My happiness is scarce. I leave everything behind. I leave everything in dust. I run away to quench my thirst, to be just a bystander. I stand alone in the world now. I am no celestial, I am no god. Even when I stand alone, no one looks back at me. I flip a coin, I roam the world. Wherever I go, people walk by. They don't find me amusing. Lost in their world, I'm just another bystander. I stand beside the road or on an empty street. Without being seen, I feel free.
So you feel free in humanity. Because not being seen. Then the next line is, I retreat into my own cocoon. I stay away, lost in the rain, being just another speck in the world. I am free. You realize your space in the universe. You just speck. Now I'm frail and old. Again he's imagining his old age. Now I'm frail and old, but I'm still a bystander. I seek out wisdom. I give back to the world. You give back to the world also. Buried in the meadow, a clear sky shines above. Day turns to night and even the moon smiles. I am free. I am content. I am free. I feel alive. He's free. He's dead, but he feels alive. Wonderful.
Yeah. So these lines, especially, I feel I relate a lot to them because you're not dead until you are. It's more about something that you have inside. It's more about a feeling. If you feel that you have nothing to offer to anyone and if you're satisfied in life, I believe that's the true death. Because I am one kind of person, I believe that I will never be satisfied and I will always reach out for more, I will always seek more. And I am the kind of person who would rather learn more by reading from even social media or any kind of knowledge. I would rather seek that instead of actually study the school curriculum. That's more important. But yeah.
You speak for all of us. Okay. Now, I want you to read out Metamorphosis of Humanity, RIP, in which we have this useful, the illustrations also worth noting.
Yeah, very nice.
Rest in peace, humanity.
One of his students.
Very nice artist. He's a wonderful illustrator.
नहीं Mittra ji can.
You've drawn these.
Yeah. No.
It's one of my students.
Students.
You've done a good work. It's charcoal, na?
Yeah, charcoal.
Charcoal.
Metamorphosis of Humanity. The meadow sang quietly. The sun wrung dry. But to enjoy this beauty, there was no one to sigh. This had been a joke between the lions and the wolves. The smartest animal alive had perished. There had been no apocalypse. There had been no invasion, but just a war, driven by hatred, ending in extinction. Earth had attained world peace yet again, but there was no one to reward. Nothing but silence which mocked. With the evolution of humanity came prosperity. So came the sacrifice of others. But in front of green paper, that was not even a bother. This had been a joke between the lions and the wolves. The smartest animal alive was the first to die. The wind swayed gently now. Everything was at peace. The tall buildings replaced by trees. Birds trapped in cages were nothing but free. Thank you.
So, want to say something about this?
So this is basically about how I believe that war is a very, very trivial concept and it is totally unnecessary. Because, so this poem is actually, I got inspired by this poem. I got inspired by Einstein's quote that I don't know how World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be definitely fought by sticks and stones. Because humanity is, even though it is progressing as a concept, they're still going backwards. Because the mice, they never built the mouse trap, and yet here we are killing each other over a piece of land which will eventually fade away. And like we are just a speck of dust in this world if we talk about that in an existential point of view. Because if I talk about the Earth, even in this solar system, we are, I think, the third smallest planet. So I actually believe that war is a very futile concept created by man just to have quenched their thirst for bloodshed, and there's actually no point of that. And so here in this poem, there's this line which I believe is my favorite. That this had been a joke between the lions and the wolves, because this line actually signifies that how even though we consider ourselves the smartest animal, we just end up killing ourselves again and again, and we're not only harming ourselves, we're harming anything and everything around us, just because we need to quench that unquenchable thirst that we need to have everything. That concept is actually a very good concept. It helps you, it keeps you motivated, but it also makes you greedy, and I think that's the thing that we can learn actually.
So he's talking about the next war after this one being fought with sticks and knives. Already on the border of on the border just now we had a war in which Indians and Chinese fought with sticks and knives. And in Europe, there is an awareness that their weapons are falling short. The entire NATO is losing its weapons in this one war, which is just actually compared to the World War, it is small. But you're losing all your weapons, and once you finish your weapons, then what happens? What do you do? So yes, this is a very interesting concept, and he's a pacifist also, as you can see from this. So we probably read out one or two more poems, right? Illuminations is one poem that I'm very interested in. Can you read about it?
Yes. Luminescence. He stepped into the light. The spark became a flame, illuminating his past all the way. The past which had held him back for years. But now he could listen to reason. He was all ears. His will to die faded away, leaving nothing behind but ash and decay. The light was warm, the light was firm, gripping onto his fears, stripping them away. The light filled his heart, lightened his soul. His mind no longer mulled over the bad. He was brimming with joy. He could see clearer than ever. He could see the life he had had. He could see the bells shine. He could see the past, the hatred, past the nickel and dime. He was free from the world. He was free from himself. The light gripped him tighter and suspended him in the air. The world had neither been kind nor fair. But now he remembered who he truly was. Not a con artist, not a billionaire, but spark which burned bright, a flightless bird in the air. Right.
And the next poem is about a flightless bird.
I think you should talk more because then nobody will buy the book. If you read all the
We have one last point.
No. You should talk about philosophy and all because then nobody there are hardly
This
20
poem,
poems and
look
we
at
have
this.
already read 5 or 6.
Yeah, this last poem we must read.
No, people should buy and read. That's
No, but it's
Okay,
interesting to hear from the poet.
yeah. But then you should buy also.
We will buy. It goes without saying.
Okay.
All of you
then-
promise that we
then you
buy.
get
Raise your
the-
hands. Then we read the
For
next
somebody
poem.
so young to be writing
Yeah,
about
and
such
so
deep subjects.
deep
very
subject. Yeah,
interesting.
that's what.
Thank you.
I was
Just
really
read two
impressed.
paragraphs from a flightless bird. Respect is
Which poem, sorry?
The next one, flightless.
The last one ends with a flightless bird. This one begins with a flightless bird.
Yes.
Flightless bird. The flightless bird lets out a cry, but the flightless bird can't fly. The one thing which embarks its destiny is so far away. All it takes is courage to wipe the fear away. But the flightless bird quivers on a sunny day.
Right. We keep the suspense running. Okay. And so reason why I showed you these illustrations also is that the book is also very well illustrated.
Yeah.
You can see beautiful illustrations. They are also they are a treat for the eye. And so now we've spoken quite a lot about you. I want to talk to Kaushalji. about what is your dream of your publishing house and what kind of books you
We have published young authors, about 30 young authors, but he's the youngest. The one girl, she was 17, so he's the youngest. And I have written 25 biographies of famous people. They are here also. Modi ji and Subhash Chandra Bose, Einstein, Albert Einstein, so many. Yeah. So, but I always wanted to write something, not poems, but some fiction or my story. But after reading his, poems, I'm motivated to do it.
Wow.
And I would, just few days before, last week only, I read some few lines, 3 or 4 lines on Facebook, and I added something, Dena phone dena beta. So I'll just like to read it.
And the title of the book is 24 hours, 24 midnight.
Why the title?
Yeah.
By the title. So 24 until midnight. Midnight until midnight is just 2 words I picked out. But the number 24 is actually my birthday date, and my parents in the I wrote this book, most of the poems in the lockdown, and the parents said that why don't you gift it to yourself, because I had completed this book around November. And so they said that your birthday is coming close, why don't you gift it to yourself? So for that reason, I had taken 24 poems, and there are more to come.
No, I'll read. First 4 lines are written by someone. I survive because I have seen death. I love because I have felt hate. I give because I have had nothing. I listen because I wasn't heard. These were the only lines. Now it's mine. I help because it's all I know. I open my heart because I couldn't breathe. Otherwise, couldn't breathe otherwise. I live my life to the full nowadays because I have limited time on the planet Earth. Bracket mein, so is true for everyone. Therefore, no fights, no arguments, no misunderstandings, no nothing. Just love only. Live and let others live. We are here for some purpose, and I found it 2 months and 1 week before. People say that they have not seen God, but He is here, only that we have to find Him. And believe me, believe that the person who is with me is God. Help people around you, for them you are their God. And if you help enough people, God will help you. And also, people say that you will believe only when you see something. But I've read one book, my favorite book by Wayne Dyer, is you will see it when you believe it. So also, you will see it only if you believe it. This is my philosophy, and it has come true for me. I am the happiest person on earth at present, and would like to live like this till my last day, working and loving. So after reading
Kabir,
this,
you have inspired.
yeah, he inspired
The
me.
gentleman to write.
He inspired me, and I got so
That's
much
awesome.
appreciation from my staff also, who couldn't even understand English, and even I feel that there's such good lines that I should write now.
Yes.
You written this recently? or-
Yeah, now last week
After reading Kabir's work.
after reading it.
And what brought you to the publishing industry? That's
My
what I-
father started book selling. So he started the bookshop in 1933. I joined while doing law. I graduated from St. Stephen's College,
Okay.
and after that I was doing law. 3rd year I started going to office, the shop. We have an old shop at Naisara. Then we started publishing in 1980. Then my brother took everything. I gave it. Then I started again in 2003. Then we were publishing classics, and then young authors like Kabir, fiction. But most of them, they were writing over their college days and, inspired by Chetan Bhagat. but they were not selling. We didn't sell many because they were all their own stories. So I told them, that your friends will like that to buy. Nobody is interested in your own story unless there is something very interesting. The first fiction we published was 19 and still virgin. So he was 19, that boy. I said 19 with many people are virgin, but you should write 20 and next year you will be 20. So 20 and still a virgin. And that we sold more than 10,000 copies, which is very good. But after that we published about 30 odd books, but none of them sold more than 1,000 copies. But then we have published many poems of friends, children also. But it is not about selling that matter. Book is the best thing about the writing a book or publishing a book is that you can gift the book. And that's what my philosophy is. All the 25 biographies, I gift so many of them. And
so are all your books fiction and poetry? Or
no, only biographies of famous people.
Achha.
They were not my contribution because I collect material from books and internet and all. So nothing creative in that. But my life itself is very, very, I should write. I will write. So
you write an autobiography.
My biography, autobiography.
So, are you planning to write? Do you publish books on philosophy? On
we publish anything and everything.
Kabir initially said that he started writing stories, right? So how was it? Why you switched over to poem? Or in stories you can say things in details, like pages and pages, and you can narrate things. But poem, as far as it comes to poetry, limited words, limited page, and things like that.
And the feelings which you have written,
Yes.
Nobody will understand. It will be very hard for everyone to understand.
So
Tell us.
what inspired you to
After
say
you answer
things
your
in
question,
lesser
Rashmi,
words?
after you answer your question, I'll request you to read one or two of your Hindi poems.
Oh, I don't remember them. Sorry, it's his day today, and I want to know only about him today. Yes.
Okay. So I switched over to poetry. Like I did not do it consciously, but when I started writing, so I remember this time period when I was doing the MEN, non MEN in my school, and I just started writing this article about this painting by Michelangelo, and it was a prompt given to me, and I was writing it just like it was a task given to me. So I had no feelings attached to it. When I started writing, I saw that, so I don't know why, but subconsciously the words had to rhyme a little bit here and there. So I thought, why should I, if I convert this text into a poem, it would be shorter, it would be easier to read, and it would still have the same essence. So I just tried doing that, and that poem was also present in this book, The Young, the Old, the Perished. So it's about that. And so I did that, and after doing that, I started exploring a little bit more about poetry and started reading more. Then I wrote Vindication on Route. So it was a gradual journey which actually began without any thought in mind. And short stories is a very beautiful art, but I have this thing that I will start a draft. I'll write 5,000 words. I'll write 7,000, 10,000 words, but then I'll leave the draft because I feel that it has more to it, but it is not there right now. There will be a better idea in the future. And currently I started writing again, not a short story, but a kind of a novella, which is so I started writing that right now. Let's see how
French
that
is
goes.
still there. The first is still there.
Yeah.
Now that you have found the publisher,
Achha, anybody in the audience is most welcome to ask questions.
please.
Does anybody have questions?
She would like to ask.
Yeah, I'm sorry I arrived a little late, but I came from very far, and some of our students have come. They're also very interested. So whatever I heard, it seems that basically, I don't know if it's true, but whatever I heard, it seems that your poems are talking philosophy. I mean, you're questioning. As you said, some of your questions are existential. So, would you consider yourself a young philosopher?
I would actually not, because I believe philosophy, I need to learn a lot more right now. It has only been like 3 years since I've started writing. So becoming a philosopher, I believe that I have a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom to gain before actually calling myself one. Because even actual philosophers like Plato and Socrates and even Aristotle, they have dedicated their whole life to different forms of art and different forms of communication. So I believe mastering that first of all is one of my goals. So after that, I believe I can still call myself a philosopher. Right now, I'm like,
Are you a budding philosopher?
Yeah, philosophy
Yeah.
and making.
yeah. So it is one of my interests to actually learn and question everything, because philosophy does question everything, but it is also about your opinion. And I have also presented my opinion subtly in a lot of ways.
And so your book, your poem on war. So what I sort of caught, what I heard, is that you think it's a very
Futile concept.
futile,
Yeah, totally.
right?
Yeah, just like, why would you kill your own brother in that way?
Right. I think it's a wonderful poem, just amazing.
Which school are you
Listen,
from, ma'am?
I always wonder, why do people go for war? Why do soldiers not refuse? That's what I always think. Why don't they just refuse? But I'm glad that at least you've written the feeling which a lot of people must be having. That why do we go to war?
People
It's
go
so
to war.
futile.
People go to war because they feel attachment to the land that they have. They feel that nationalism,
Yeah.
that bhavna
People
that we
don't-
talk about.
People don't go to the war, nations fight.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
what.
so
we fight because we belong to this nation.
and it's a very easy thing for us to say as people who are living in a very comfortable environment, to say कि हम वो मना क्यों नहीं कर देते. But if we talk about how we have that feeling of nationalism and वो जो भावना that we talk about, that attachment to the land and those roots, that feeling is the reason, that's a desire that drives them to protect their land. And that's what I believe, that you having that feeling is a very good thing, and I believe everyone should have it. But the concept of war, which is to kill each other because of some dispute, which is not which is just very futile. You're fighting over a piece of land. You will die within the next 20 years. You'll die the next moment if you have some kind of disease. You can die any second in this world. But you will still you will fight over a piece of land which will not even exist 20 years later or 100 years later. And that's the main reason in ideology. And a lot of people who actually start the war, they're not the one who are participating in
Not
it.
at all.
So that is also one.
I just want to add one thing. If you gather, I'm the editor of a magazine called One World.
Hmm.
One world, one universe, one mankind. The main concept about that particular blog is that all the resources of the universe belong to all mankind. Whether it's oxygen, whether it's water, whether it's oil. And once you start dividing amongst people and amongst land, then the conflict begins. So that magazine is also about an anti-war, pro-union of a single world, single universe where all humanity lives together, where there are no countries and no borders, a borderless world. So that's why I said I feel a lot of synergy with what he's thinking, and that's why I've got interested in conducting this discussion. So anybody else has any questions?
Riya?
आपको शौक कैसे हुआ पोएट्री बनने का? पोएट्री लिखने का?
ये ऑलरेडी बता चुके हैं अभी.
नहीं फिर
कोई
भी
बात
नहीं,
बाद में-
वो तो
बाद में-
हिंदी में बताइए.
मुझे सही में ऐसे नहीं पता. मैंने जस्ट लिखना शुरू कर दिया. मेरे को पहले एक हॉलिडे होमवर्क के टास्क मिला था, एक ऐसे आर्टिकल्स के बारे में लिखना. एंड जो मैं स्कूल के जो आंसर्स थे, जो भी मेरे को मिलते थे, टीचर्स थे वो कहते थे मेरे को कि यू शुड राइट मोर, या आप और लिखो. एंड स्पेशली लॉकडाउन के टाइम पे मेरे पास कुछ था नहीं है सच करने को, बिकॉज पढ़ाई तो है ही है, बट बाहर जाना कम हो गया, दोस्तों से मिलना कम हो गया, तो मेरे पास कुछ अपना समय बताने के लिए नहीं था. एंड यही एक रीजन है जिसकी वजह से मैंने पढ़ना शुरू किया. मैंने डिफरेंट जॉनरास की, डिफरेंट जॉनर्स की मैंने किताबें उठाई, उनको मैंने पढ़ना शुरू किया. स्पेशली फिक्शन के अंदर मैं सबसे ज्यादा पढ़ता हूँ, बिकॉज जो इमेजरी होती है उसके अंदर एंड जो प्लॉट, कैरेक्टर्स, कुछ भी हो गया, आई बिलीव कि फिक्शन से तुम बहुत कुछ सीख सकते हो. एंड उसी तरीके से मैं सिर्फ फिक्शन पढ़ता हूँ मोस्टली. एंड उसके अलावा ऑटोबायोग्राफीज, बायोग्राफीज का थोड़ा इंटरेस्ट है, बिकॉज दैट्स वेरी फैक्चुअल. एंड वही जो वर्ड्स जो यूज होते हैं, वो फिर वो वाले वर्ड्स में आई स्टार्ट पिकिंग देम अप, एंड वो मैंने फिर इस्तेमाल करने शुरू करे अलग अलग जगहों पे. एंड फिर बस इंस्पायर होके बुक से मैंने लिखना शुरू कर दिया.
So, Kabir, I would like to just compliment you. I was very impressed. No, that's fine. I was very impressed with your poem on feminism, and I just think for a boy of 15 or 16 to be having such thoughts is incredible.
Yeah.
Because I also feel that respect for the female gender. It should be inculcated in all schools at a very from the very lower level, so that we can if we introduce it in schools at a lower level, then I'm sure that it will go a long way towards somewhere getting gender equality, gender parity. And so I don't know which of your parents are responsible for this, or whether it is your school or whether it is your own evolution. But I think it's incredible that you have these thoughts on gender equality.
Thank you. It's my sisters, by the way.
Sisters. He has two sisters, one mother, and father is busy. Father is an artist, so he's painting or
It's
doing.
always said that it takes a village to raise a child.
I-
Actually, school and the environment,
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
contributes.
But
Definitely
But it's it's so nice to see a boy, and that too so young.
So young. That's what I
and having
told him.
these.
Yeah, for that, I think we have to give credit to him, because
Him
it
only.
depends on the sponge, what he wants to soak.
So
much
exactly,
is available.
very
So,
true.
yeah.
I would actually like those were the sisters, because from childhood I have been raised in such a way to respect everybody, and it's not just about elders or chota hai
Exactly,
chhod do.
yeah.
It's about respecting everybody and anybody. And even though you might dislike someone, but having respect for them and treating them as your equal, that is something which
Exactly.
should be everybody's ideology and everybody's mindset. And so in that way I'll like to
Say thank you to
Say
your
thank you.
sister.
Teases his sisters
But
all
only-
the time, so he's finding it difficult to just
In fact, can I tell you this? Just a few days back, I was with this friend of mine, and we were having this discussion on gender and everything. And he raised a very pertinent point, which also got me thinking, and which I would just like to share with everybody, so that maybe everybody can just ponder over it. That how, even in our own Hinduism, so to say, God or the Almighty is always referred to in the male form. You always say Bhagwan, you never say Bhagavati, or you always refer to God in the male gender.
But at the same time, all the goddesses are
Yeah,
we
powerful.
do.
They are more powerful. Sari goddesses, they are all
We
more
do.
powerful than the.
even in the
God.
Bible they
Yeah.
refer to his or him with the capital H. And so for this, actually a lot of influence by my sisters, and apart from that also from media, I believe has been
Mhm.
given. For example, there's this album of Halsey, if anybody listens to her, that God is a woman. That is her album. And so and that is one of the reasons which I started thinking about feminism. And even today I was having this debate about feminism and pseudo-feminism with my sister, that because she talked about a book, The Mindset of a Feminist. She's like a feminist. So
इसका इलाज करना पड़ेगा
And I recommended to everyone, so I walked him in and I told him that the book was kept here, and I was like, in your life, you have to do one favor to me, that you have to read this book.
Which
He's like,
book?
okay,
Which
we'll take
book?
it.
Seeing like a
And then we
feminist.
started
Seeing
conversation.
Oh.
So, yeah, she's a professor. The way that she talks about feminism, maybe yes, she's a little radicalist in her ideas, but I think we need to ask ourselves radical questions in to be able to find balanced views, even if we are to find balanced views, but we have to ask ourselves radical questions. And I think that exposure is necessary for all of us.
And that is what I was talking about. I actually am a firm believer of feminism as a concept, but because of this, it's a little rude, but this pathetic quality of humans of tainting anything and everything with their beliefs and their mindset, that concept of pseudo feminism which has woken, that are actually destroying whatever the legacy feminism had built. And that's why a lot of now this debate between feminism has sparked so much more than earlier, because of this group of people, or whatever you want to call it, but because of them. And that's why through my poems, this poem especially, I want to say that if feminism is a beautiful concept if it is not tainted at all, because who doesn't want equality and equity in their life? Who doesn't want to be treated as an equal citizen?
Freedom, most important.
Yeah, who doesn't want to have freedom? Yeah, and even like the world is changing, which is a very good thing. Recently, the Hajj, I don't remember what's the pronunciation, but recently in Saudi Arabia, in that, so it's basically the mosque, which ultimate mosque, which set out this law that women can enter without a male companion. Yeah. This is a very good thing that the world is progressing, and like literature has been a key factor in any and every revolution, may it be the pettiest of the revolution or even the industrial or the French Revolution. In any and every revolution, literature has been one aspect which has been very important. And that's why names like A.M. Bernard, George Eliot, and Maya Angelou, Simone de Beauvoir, they're very important to us. Even though we might not know it, but because of them, our mindset has changed and has been molded so many times, and for the better, obviously.
Okay, I think the next part of it will be that people can buy permission. People can buy the books and also will sign it.
So let me just formally thank everyone here. So we have Manohar Kushlani ji here, and thank you, sir, for gracing the occasion.
Thanks.
Kaushal ji, like always supported. Rashi ji, unsung hero. Whenever I need someone very prolific in these kind of times where I need some support.
One or two lines, just two lines.
And family and friends, thank you for coming here on this working day, being Monday, and it's kind of houseful. So I thank everyone, and this is the first time that my name is not mentioned here, but anyway, I'm still here. वो कहते हैं कि हर एक सफल आदमी के पीछे एक औरत का हाथ होता है, या तीन है.
Father की कोई
वैल्यू नहीं है. But God bless everybody.
He is a great artist. He is a painter, sculptor, and I was surprised when I went to Gurgaon.
So thank you very much for coming in, and it's wonderful to have you around.
Don't say thank you, tell them to buy the books.
Yeah.
So that caution.
please buy the book. Yes. And it is $1.99. If you pay online, then you save 1 rupee. If you buy cash, then you have to pay 200 rupees. Because we don't have 1 rupee change.
That's understandable.
And the thing is that also will become very famous one day. He'll sign the book.
Yeah, he'll sign the book and.
He's here for that purpose.
Yes, you have to sign the book for me. I'm buying.
Yeah.
I'm buying the first 3 books. 2 for my students.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Just sit for 5 minutes.
Yeah, coffee. Sunil.
Is the bookshop new?
6 months old. 6 months old. 6, 7 months old. Yeah, Hello. We have 5 shops like this.
5 shops.
All open after March.
You will
March.
have.
No, now.
You have.
Yeah, 5. Not me. Kunzum.
Can you please sign this?
No, we opened 5 bookshops and most of the bookshops in Toronto are closing or closed already. So it's very high of this.
You can write Assam.
Yes,
Inspired to read those books and that change